tell us about your book. She's a boss, because you are the boss. So tell us about it.
This kind of came out of the blue. I was not expecting, I've always wanted to be a part of a book, write a book, because I do a lot of writing personally. And this kind of came out of the blue, out of nowhere. A gal that I met through Facebook, she reached out to me. And she said, I've been following you, and I really like what you're doing. I think you have a great story. You're building a brand that people are resonating with. I really want you to consider being a part of this project. And we're going to have, 10 to 15 women who are going to share their stories about how they got where they are and what they're doing to make an impact in the world. And so I said, let me think about it. And I did, and I did, and I did. And I was really uncomfortable. I said yes, but I was really uncomfortable saying yes. And what's interesting is that I don't have a problem sharing my story in a venue like this or with people that I know, but sharing my story on paper and writing it, it was a whole new experience that was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So,
and go ahead and share for some people that don't know you from your last podcast on our listeners and viewers. Go ahead and share some of your story.
Well, the story that I share in this book is basically my entrance into the CrossFit world and how I got there and how my health I'd been struggling with my health, and I had gained a ton of weight, and all of my girls were CrossFitters. And I had a daughter that basically said, you're going to go do this 6-week nutrition challenge. I don't care. You're doing it. And so I did, lost a bunch of weight, got hooked on CrossFit. And that's kind of the start of my CrossFit journey. But along the way, I also realized that I had a really unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And I had to really think about what I was going to do in that area of my life, and because it wasn't serving me. And so long story short, I gave up drinking, and I share that story in the book. And I gave up drinking, and here we are. And so that's basically my story, is how I got into CrossFit, why I gave up drinking, what I gained as a result of that in my own personal life, and where I'm going from here forward, or where I hope God takes me.
Janet, what questions do you have for Roddie?
So when we give up something, there's a consequence. Have you found that there's people that have left your life because of that, or has it increased, or how does that look for you?
You mean as far as giving up the drinking? Oh, I didn't lose anything.
Good.
I didn't lose anything because I was a drinker who drank in isolation. So I didn't have to give any friends or anything up. And so I gained, 1,000-fold over what I ever gave up. And, I think the primary thing that I gained was I'm able now to live in my own truth and live congruent with what I profess to believe. And so, I gained way more than I ever gave up. So there were no consequences for me. I didn't have to give up relationships. Even if I did, those weren't relationships I probably wanted to be in anyway. Right. Yeah. So it's all positive for me.
Yeah. So what was your, so you started CrossFit and lost some weight before you quit drinking, correct?
I had quit drinking about 2 months before I jumped into the challenge. And I jumped into the challenge because I needed something. I'd given up something and I needed something. And I'm a very competitive person and a very addictive personality. And so CrossFit was it for me.
Yeah. So, because I was going to say, so what were the health, you obviously lost weight, but what were some of the other health benefits after you quit drinking and lost weight? Tell us, some of the things that you gained because of that. Did you have any, high blood pressure or diabetes coming on, anything like that?
Yeah, I was on the borderline of hypertension. I was, right there you're going to need to go on blood pressure medication. My A1C was through the roof because I was a wine drinker. I was getting ready to have to go on metformin. I was 35 to 40 pounds overweight. I wasn't, of course, sleeping well. My face was always red and puffy from the wine. And so when I quit drinking, all of those things corrected themselves within just a few months. And of course I felt better. I was sleeping better. I had more clarity. and I was able to do the things that I love to do at a higher level.